Oh, all right, there we go. We can start a smidge early. Hello, hello. Welcome in. Here we keep it a bit chill today. All the Runefest announcements and stuff just came out yesterday. So I figured, might as well. I'm still working on Slayer on the transit-only account. Sit here and slowly tick down on this, the Trolls task. Oh man, I didn't hit that one. Didn't do enough to it. Very slowly working my way down through these. I think we're at like 13 or 14 tasks in a row. So we're not doing terrible. Eventually we will get ourselves 300 points. I figured this would be a good opportunity. Talk about some of the changes. Hello, Mr. Gage. I'm finding out very quickly that these thrower trolls are actually extremely accurate. I thought I could just tank it. I mean, you could see, like, I'm taking so much damage. I'm in, like, all this tank armor. It just doesn't even matter. I wonder if they have, like, some sort of, special, like, they ignore defense property or something. May have to come back with a prayer setup. But for now, I've got the monkfish. Yes, how are you doing, Mr. Gage? What did you think of the Runefest announcements? Did you dig into them any? I'm quite surprised, actually, that they're planning on doing sailing this year. Transit-only account may be getting a lot of chunks in the back half of the year. God, dude, these thrower trolls. they eat through the armor, like, what the heck? At least they don't hit, like, a crazy high amount, but, man, they're so accurate. Sailing alpha to launch seems kind of short. Yeah, I know. I mean, the way that they talked about it initially when they were, like, pitching it, it seemed like, you know, they'd do an alpha and then there'd be some, like, a long development phase in between. I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe, what did they say, autumn. So they've got, I don't know, 6 months, 8 months, something like that in between. Maybe that's long enough. I was kind of under the impression, though, that'd be like alpha and then we'd have, you know, a year and a half or something like that before we even consider having the skill released. RS3 announcing another new area is frustrating. Wish they would just clean up and to bloat the main world before they added more. It's been a while since I've been to RS3, but I'll say I feel like I understand what you mean. The last time I was playing, I did try an Iron Man for a little bit on there, which was fine, but there's like so much happening in the world, or at least it feels that way, compared to like old school. Everything really has like a much more cluttered feel to it almost. What was the new area that they were announcing for RS3? I tuned in a bit late to Runefest, so I only got like the OSRS roadmap stuff and the golden gnomes, I suppose. I was watching for some of that as well. The 4,000 devs over the life of the game with no central game design, adding what they want. I always thought, like, so I remember when Queen Black Dragon, when that came out, I really liked the boss. I really liked the content for Queen Black Dragon, but it always felt weird that it was like kind of in like the Port Sarim area or whatever, right? Like the entrance into it. Such an odd placement. And I feel like they've had a lot of updates over the years where it's like that, where they're just like, where do we want to shove this thing in? Like, I don't know, middle of Birth Orb, go for it. You know, like, I mean, sure, I guess. Mori Plus, pre-first age. Pre-first age? Man, they're getting old then. Well, I guess in fairness, in a way, we sort of got Mori Plus announced for Old School too, with the Blood Moon Rising stuff, right? Vampirium. Although it sounds like I'm imagining that it's gonna be like detached somewhere. You know, take a boat and go to it type of deal, or teleport. They used all the ages and panicked, it seems. I'm surprised they ran through it all so quickly, because I know, like, the gods returning and all of that. That's cool. It's just so interesting compared to, like, old school, where... I mean, we're in the same age this entire time, you know what I mean? Like, how long has this game been out? They've been developing stuff, and they haven't had to move through the different ages, you know? OSRS team aren't adding an area, I don't think, just adding more story and content to existing. Yeah. Well, I mean, it sounded like the vampire world, I'm imagining, I don't know, something to the size of maybe like Darkmire was kind of my thought. Not that they really gave us enough to know. But I'm like, I mean, Darkmire is both a large area and not that large. I mean, it fits into the map where they added it. And I don't know that they have another area within Mauritania that they can plop it. But if it's like the vampire homeworld that you can travel to, then maybe it'll be like a teleport in like the castle or something in Darkmire. And then you get something that's like Darkmire-esque in size. They need to nuke the lore. You fight the gods, become Gothics, banish Joss. Like, what's left? Wow, they've gotten through that far, huh? Been a long time since I did any quests in RS3. I remember the gods coming back. I remember some of the Slisk whatever. What are they called? I remember that whole like faction, like some of the quests related to that. I think all of Castle Draken is open for building out. It would be kind of cool. They let you like go into the castle. I mean, surely they will as part of that quest. Go into the castle, maybe in like the throne room of the castle, they have a teleport out to the Vampirium or whatever. Follow the big bad vampire lord through, go through his portal. Gosh dang, thrower trolls. They're wrecking me. I'm down to my last 8 monkfish. I don't know, it'll be interesting, because I almost feel like... I sort of wish there was almost more to do in Darkmire. I don't think the area is, like, big enough for more stuff, really. Besides, like, building out the castle. But I really like the Darkmire area. I think it was a cool addition to the area, so I'd love to see more done with it. I do think that quest is a good opportunity for that. I don't know, I suppose if there's like a teleport from there to Vampirium, maybe kind of consider it still a part of Darkmire. Maybe that's how they're solving that problem. How far have you gotten in your RS3 journey since you've been grinding it out? Ooh, that's actually a little bit scary. Well, they switch over to a dude who's praying. As soon as he's out of range, they might start swinging at me. Don't know what their max hit is. I think the most I've seen on you is a 6. Gosh dang, man, they are so accurate. Not too far. I'm rushing Invention to feed Steve gear. 80 Divination. I mean, that feels like it's pretty high. I mean, I guess it depends. I know the daily whatever divination thing does give a lot of XP. 71 to 80, 71 out of 80 crafting, 70 out of 80 smithing. I guess smithing is also good now, isn't it? In RS3. You can actually get some like decent gear out of it. Is invention even useful, actually? Now that I think about it. Because normally you use it to, like, add stuff to kind of like late game gear, don't you? Although I suppose they've expanded it since the last time I played, so there's probably more stuff that I'm not familiar with. Cash is capped per day. Don't remember what exactly. Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Well, there's also, like, you can play, like, the divination minigame kind of thing, like, twice a day or something. A lot of gear behind it, skilling sets, etc. Behind invention? Really? Last time that I messed with it was like, you break Armadillo armor and it would give you something that you could lump onto your gear and give it, like, I don't know, whatever bonus, like, combat effect, chance of doing, you know, extra damage, like an Armadillo Godsword spec kind of thing. I just hope I'm around for the sailing alpha. If it's towards the end of the month, I'll be out of the country for a couple of weeks. Got the roadmap up here, looking at it too. And what'd you think of Yama? Right off the back of the Royal Titans as like the first duo boss, and then they announced they're doing an in-game duo boss as well. Good luck flying. Hopefully we'll be alright. It's a long flight. 13 hours or something. I haven't even completed any of the... I think I got like the teleport thing for the Royal Titans. I don't know if you'd call that like a real drop. I still have everything else I need to get. Yama won't probably do. They said it's end game and you need best in slot gear for it. And I was almost thinking like, well, like with the Royal Titans, I don't know. I'm like, I don't mind the duo mechanics, and I think it can be fun. It'd be a good way to like have you and a buddy, you know, smacking on the boss or whatever. But at the same time, I'm also like, I guess maybe this is more of like a personal playstyle thing. I tend not to, like, I tend to do a lot of like solo stuff just kind of randomly as I have time. So I don't know if I'll really have like the motivation to like grind out an in-game duo boss. It's the same problem I have with like raids as well. Getting together the group content, because then it adds like a level of planning almost. Ow. Just like an extra barrier, you know? And like, get off work, come home, like, do I want to sit down and like plan to try and figure all that out? You know what I mean? Really sounded like duo was necessary, can be soloed but shouldn't. Yeah, I guess it depends how difficult it ends up being. I mean, I've ended up like, I haven't done a ton of the Royal Titans, but I have soloed it a little bit, just here and there. Some like 5 or 10 kills from time to time. I don't know, it's interesting because I know a lot of people get excited about like the endgame boss stuff, but I felt like for myself personally, out of the stuff that they listed, it was probably the thing I was least excited about of the bunch. Not that I necessarily like hate the idea of it, I'm just like, I'll be surprised if I end up doing it a lot. Probably depends how grindy they make it, because I know one of the mods was saying they were gonna try to make it less grindy than some of the other content. So it's, you know, if you get good at it, you can like chill at it. And I also don't know if that means that they're gonna make the drops maybe like somewhat easier to get. Easier, you know, like whatever that's gonna mean. But you don't have to grind out like Corp is a really egregious example of that, where you have to grind just like endlessly for stuff. Oh my god, I need to stop myself from smacking these trolls down. Ujack's too powerful. I don't know. I guess if it wasn't too terribly grindy, if it's like a 10-minute kill and 200 kills gets you all the drops, maybe I'd spend some time slowly work my way up towards something like that. I also kind of wonder, since they didn't announce leagues on this roadmap, if they're actually going to do it, because I know that they said they're planning on doing leagues every year. And they put Deadman in the winter. I know, so like this year they did... Ooh, oh man, misclicked and took the troll out. They, this year they did Deadman, and then there was like a couple of months, and then they did leagues. So I almost wonder if maybe it'd be leagues like early next year or something. Because I know that they're wanting to do Deadman and leagues every year. They might not try and push traffic to the RS3 leagues. That's true, they did announce that. Did they say, like, time frame wise, when RS3 was going to get their league? Gosh, I keep keep taking the trolls out, because I'm like, I wonder, you may have a point with it, depending on when they do that. The RS3 league is something like, I mean, even if it's in, you know, like August, September, November, kind of around that time frame, and then they do Deadman on OSRS right after, I could see that. I don't know, an RS3 league seems, tough, I guess, to say the least. League's always been a good thing to suck new and returning players into the game. Yeah, I'm like, the challenge I have when I think about an RS3 league is I'm like, they already have so many, like, crazy ability things, don't they? Like with the auras and like even some items. I mean, they had like the like, I know you don't get death touch darts all of the time, it's like a limited time sort of deal, but they have them, like the one hit kill a boss kind of thing. Like there's so many crazy powers that OSRS has taken inspiration from for leagues from RS3. And then RS3 is like, no, we're gonna make it even crazier. I'm like, I don't know, man. For mains, as irons is actually pretty uncommon. I don't know, I mean, what do you think? Because you've been playing RS3 for a little bit. Like, are you excited about the prospect of an RS3 league? Ooh. wrong account. Yikes. That could be dangerous. I think figuring out area interactions is a nightmare for the dev teams. Can't imagine it'll go well. Did they say, are they going to do the area restrictions kind of like what they'd done for the OSRS League? Gosh dang, these trolls. Holy. Not really, R3 kind of already a league, but maybe long-time player won't feel that way. Yeah, I guess it really depends on what sort of things they come up with, doesn't it? It's just tough, because I'm like, man, like all of the things that I would think are cool in like the OSRS League, I'm like, RS3 already has it for like, at least to some extent, you know? They have not, just a guess. If they don't, not sure what the gimmick will be. Does area locking work for RS3? I mean, it probably does. Golly, there's so many, like, teleports, though, that they have to check against. So many different area connections and stuff, too. Yeah, balancing, I guess, would be pretty hard just because of the spread of content, but maybe it wouldn't matter that much. I don't know. I'll have to. I don't know if I'll end up doing anything with that league, just because I tend to be kind of busy enough with the OSRS content. But I may look into it a little bit as they put more information out, just to see what they're doing with it. So I am curious. Troll. Gotta run to the store, be back in a bit. Good luck with the trolls. Appreciate it. We're slowly getting there. 82 left on this task. The only place that I have trolls... Oh my god, I really need this, I need the aggression timer to run out so that I don't get completely wrecked by him, though. I think I will have to come back with prayer. Tough. They're so accurate. It seems like the tank armor really makes zero difference. Alright, man, look at that. Already at half health. How about other folks, though? Anybody else have thoughts on the announcements from Runefest? Anything that you guys are excited about, worried about? They're adding more elemental weaknesses. That was something that they mentioned, which I thought was a cool idea. Almost made me wonder if, like, when they were designing the League, the Kandarin item, which was all about, like, empowering the elemental weaknesses, maybe they knew it was coming. They knew it was there, but they forgot it wasn't coming for another half a year. I'm not even gonna last to the end of this aggression timer. I got like 20 seconds before they all stop piling me. Almost threw all my monkfish. Yeah, I think let me go switch my loadout on him. These things are just too accurate. Bearer's armor does seemingly nothing to him. Pull out some proselyte, put that on. Grab some prayer potions as well. Shouldn't need too many. I've only got 79 trolls left. Not too bad. Now I can smack away all they want on here. back into the swing of it. You know, something I am curious about. Maybe I can look this up. I know Varlamore Part 3 was in the mix. I think, like, I know this is one that they had already announced. Did they push it back? When was the last time that they announced that? I guess it must have been, like, the Winter Summit, right? Yeah, let me see if I can find it. Winter Summit roadmap. That's the part 2. Maybe am I mixing things? Or did they do another roadmap at some point? Let's see if the wiki has like a roadmap collection. Upcoming updates, that one. That just shows the recent roadmap. Goodness, while I'm doing this, I'm gonna be killing all these trolls, aren't I? Timeline, okay, here we go. 2024, maybe. Maybe they just talked about it in blogs. I know there was a whole lot of controversy about the, like the Delve boss rewards. I don't even think they mentioned much, if anything, in the blog from Runefest actually about the Delve boss rewards for Varlamore Part 3. I feel like it's because of, you know, they had like some things that they wanted to do that ended up getting scrapped because people just couldn't agree. Or they didn't like the rewards. I swear that it showed up somewhere else on one of the roadmaps, but I'm just wondering if maybe maybe that controversy of it ended up pushing it back a little bit. Well, I'm not entirely sure where... Is the Transit Lock series coming back? It's... I'll say it never left, but I do understand it's been a little bit since the last episode, but I'm working on the next episode right now, actually. I've got kind of like the, I don't know, what do you say? It's got everything in place, I just need to go through and do kind of like the full edit treatment on it. So... Originally, I was going to see if I could get it out on Monday, so tomorrow, but I don't think I'm going to quite make it there. So it'll probably be coming out the following Monday, so the 10th. But yeah, it's been a little while. I mean, so basically what I've been doing, so like, what happened is I made those couple of episodes, and then they did the Deadman Mode season, so I was like, okay, well I better go do some Deadman Mode videos. So I parked him at like stars for a while, because I needed to slowly build up some crafting supplies. I think I was doing that to, like, maybe be able to craft amethyst. I don't even totally remember. So I was like, okay, well, I'll park him at stars for a little while. So I've got, like, 40 or 50,000 stardust sitting in a bank. But the problem is stars don't give random events. And then when leagues happened, I was like, well, I wanna have a chance at him getting randoms before I started, like, playing him as a leagues account. And I was like, okay, let me go chop yew trees instead. So then I was sitting at yew trees. I've got 30,000 yew logs in the bank now. So I was like, you know, eventually 30,000 of them will get me up to like 93 fletching, I think, for a redwood shield. Like, ooh, you know, I could get myself like a black dragonhide shield for range. I don't know. It's definitely not worth the time commitment. Definitely not, but if you're curious, like, that's why there hasn't been a lot of progress, because I was just doing more of the, like, AFK stuff while I was working on other content. I figured it, in a way, it'll help him out. But now I'm kind of, like, actively trying to get through and open up chunks, so there should be at least a couple more episodes in the near-ish future. I mean, I think I've got enough, actually, for even the following episode, too. So the one that'll go out on the 10th, and then I'll have to see if I can get one done before I leave for my trip. I'm gonna be out towards like the end of March for the first couple weeks of April. If I can, I'll probably have an episode go out like the first week after I've left for my trip, just so it doesn't feel like I've disappeared for 2 months. And then we'll have to see, because what I'm working on here with the Slayer stuff, this will probably be like a 3rd episode. It'll have to be Slayer plus some other stuff. I mean, this isn't like... As much as I appreciate people sitting here while I'm like streaming this, you'll know if you watch the Transit episodes, this is gonna be like a maybe 30-second montage. Maybe, you know, like could be a 10 or 15-second montage doing like 30-odd Slayer tasks trying to get points. But the problem is I still need to get 300 points anyway. Because I need to be able to make Slayer rings. Otherwise, I'll never be able to, like, save up points, so... It's a struggle. But at least we get you, Jack, to help us out a little bit. Oh, I'm out of death runes, huh? Oh, wow, so I must have... Like, that was it. That was the last cast right there. How many of the other runes do I have? Oh, you know what? I shouldn't use fire spells, because then I'll end up using these pages. Might need them for something later. Blow through some blood runes. You know, it's funny, on the Runefest announcement, they were talking about, like, rebalancing drop tables. And they mentioned Soul Wars crates giving a bunch of blood runes, and I'm like, that is 100% where these came from for me. Like, dang it, they're gonna take my source of runes, dude. I actually did a little bit of Soul Wars just to build up some additional runes recently, too. Not like a ton, but man, doing these Slayer assignments since I've been camping magic on them, I just burned through all of my runes. I'll have to see if there's, like, I mean, I can always just go, I think I can buy more of them. Like, it's not that bad, but I'm just like... Kind of unfortunate. I may be someone who has to go and like panic play Soul Wars for a couple of days. Get myself some crates. Maybe go for the pet while the drops are still pretty good on it. Oh, man, I didn't even think about that. People who grind out the pet. If they make those crates less worthwhile. I mean, I guess if you're going for the pet, you probably don't care that much about the drops, but I mean, you want better drops than worse ones, yeah. Morning, welcome in. Mr. Honey. How are you doing? Chilling, chatting, doing some Slayer, trying to. 59 trolls to go. Tuckered out after 9+ hours of sleep. I'm jealous. I didn't get to sleep in much today. Yesterday, though, I was doing pretty good. 9+ hours myself yesterday. Weekend's a good time to catch up, because sometimes it's tough to get enough sleep during the week. Like a work schedule and whatnot. I mean, hey, it's still the weekend for you, isn't it? Then you go take a nap. My wife, with her schedule, she tends to get, I mean, very little sleep during the week, I feel like. And she probably gets like 5 or 6 hours a night, so then she ends up sleeping across like almost the entire weekend. Catching up from the week. But you gotta do what you gotta do. I might pull that troll. Oh, yep, there he goes. Ooh, good. We got a big hit on that one. Wife is a stagehand, also gets very little sleep. I don't know how my wife does it. I'm like, I barely function if I get, like... I can maybe do one day. One day where I've gotten, like, terrible sleep, when I get, like, 5 or 6 hours, but after the first day, I just can't function anymore. I'm just too groggy. She's built different. Oh, it's funny, and then she wonders why she sleeps all weekend, and I'm like, you know it's exact. It's because you get no sleep. Like, your body's, like, screaming for more. Ends up having, like, 4 naps over the weekend. Oh, man. Don't wreck me, troll. Oh, good. Well, at least it still doesn't hit. I was kind of wondering. Like, I feel like it's not going to hit much higher than it did on like my other account in tank armor, even though I'm in robes, but still makes me nervous. Some of the best naps I've ever had were after taking a muscle relaxer. Just passing out for a while. I'm a big proponent of naps. I really wish we could get more like scheduled nap times, like even in the workday and stuff. Like, man, you know, the like the 2 or 3 o'clock slump that happens. Like, just let people take a nap, even a 30-minute nap. Oop. Try not to get too wrecked here. The struggle of people running through going to God Wars. Told my boss that one day he's gonna come by my desk and find me under it with a sleeping bag. I'm for it. I've said this before in my workplace as well. I'm like, one of these days I'm gonna install like curtains across my desk. Like, I get like a little dark area under there. I just take a nap. I've told him, I'm like, just get some nap pods. And go snore in another room, not disturb people. Say, if I'm super desperate for a nap, sometimes over lunch I might go to my car and take like a 20-minute nap. Naps shall be had, whether we get nap pods or nap rooms or whatever. Won't stop me. Plus, I mean, really, if you want to get into like the business of it, I'm like, a 20-minute nap making you more productive at the end of the day. I mean, it's like, it's a better business decision. You have a more productive workforce for a couple of hours. Like, come on, it's gotta be worth it, you know? Better relationships with coworkers, better relationships with like clients if you work with those directly. Higher quality work. Any CEOs out there, I'm telling you, there's research on it. Naps are good. They do a lot of positive things. I think Google is a place that has nap pods, as I recall. Oh no, my phone is listening. No, Google, not you. I am talking about your office, but you don't need to search things. Man, it's gonna be an exciting year. Sailing. Getting sailing on this account. I do kind of wonder. I don't know if you guys have some thoughts. I don't know how many of you folks have followed the Transit series, but I am now that I know sailing is coming. I've had to been thinking about like how am I gonna treat sailing for chunks? Because normally I teleport into these chunks and that'll unlock them. I'm like, with sailing, we already know, because of what they've said at like Runefest with the alpha and stuff, that I'll be able to access it because they're gonna have some sort of like starter quest in Port Sarim, and it's gonna take you out to an island somewhere. So I'm like, does just traveling on the boat give me chunks? Because that sort of makes sense in my mind, but I don't know if that's too strong. Like, it might be too strong. I don't know if I should do it if I like dock the boat somewhere, if that would be what unlocks it. And it may be a little bit of, we'll have to see once the alpha's here later this month. But I'm just like, man, I don't know. Because otherwise, I mean, if they treat the map in a similar way to what they do like with the typical game, I know there's going to be some sort of weird like blend of how the map is now versus like expanding it for ocean travel, because this stuff is actually like really close together. And I'm like, if it unlocks every single bit of coastline, I'm suddenly going to have like a ton of the map. Assuming they don't like scale this differently or something, which they might. But you know, I'm like, I could travel around. Most of these places are not more than like, you know, a couple of chunks wide even. And maybe that's not that much of a problem though. I mean, this is also sort of like late game for this account almost. You know, the late game. This is the late game gear right here. Very late game. Super strong. But I've only probably got like maybe like 10-ish chunks that I can open. Might be a little more, maybe like 15. Either way, it's not a lot more like area progress that I can do. There's certainly a lot that I can do in the areas though. Well, I'll say before they announced that sailing was coming out this year, I was thinking, you know, I would open up all of the chunks and then maybe circle back and try to do like a I believe I'll have access to the Czar City. So my thought was like, maybe go get a fire cape, go into Chambers of Zarek, because I have that as well for the raids, get like the best setup I can out of there, and then send an Inferno cape. But in truth, with sailing coming out later this year, I probably wouldn't have time to do all that. Like, I don't know. Huge injection of chunks potentially. And anytime I see stuff like that, I'm just like, I'm not sure. It's kind of the same thing. I don't know if any of you have been around when I've talked about like ladders and cave entrances and stuff. You'll see this on the episode that I'm putting out next week. On the map itself, there's like darker squares with little red stars on them. And those were all of the chunks that I could potentially get if I included ladders, cave entrances, and agility shortcuts. And like when I originally made the rule of avoiding those, it was I didn't want to speed up the account's progress too much. I made it super early. So I was like, I started out here in Lumbridge. I got my wood cutting up, and I started like going out to Edgefill. And you can get to Edgefill like 20 wood cutting or something like that, right? Like 25. And what I didn't want to have happen was I allow cave entrances and then I just unlock the Ferox Enclave like straight up without having to go to like 40 wood cutting. Plus, I thought that I had access to a saw before, so the other thing I wanted to avoid was going through like the Edgefield dungeon and then popping up in the castle and getting all of this stuff over here as well. It really wasn't a big deal. In hindsight, it wouldn't have mattered, but that was kind of my thought, and then I made the rule, and then the account's been this way for so long. So all this to say, like, the reason I haven't changed is because I'm like, I would suddenly get an injection of like 20 chunks. Like, it's nothing like crazy, none of this stuff would be like super impactful in any way, but you know, I'd suddenly get like, I get a couple of chunks over here, I get all of the like parend, like these little rope entrances that go into the catacombs. So I'll get, you know, like half a dozen chunks over there. There's a handful of them that are spread out on the map. Like, I now would have this half of Catherby as well once I get access to the Taverley dungeon. Karamja, potentially, you know, getting this chunk. I might be able to also, with the agility shortcut, get something like this. Get the Calpite layer as well. There's a lot of, like, random places I'd pick up. Nothing that would, like, change the account per se, but it just feels weird, like, changing a rule and getting, you know, a dozen chunks, 20 chunks, whatever it is. That's kind of how I feel the same way about, like, sailing. So if they treat the map the same way, I'm like, all of a sudden I get 60 chunks. I mean, it's almost like, if there's no requirements to travel around these different areas, it's like 60 chunks for free. It's just weird. I don't know quite how I feel about it. But it would make sense still that sailing, like, as a transportation locked account, sailing should play some sort of role. I just don't know what that should look like. And maybe it's something where I can, like, travel through the chunks, but if I have to, like, land the ship somewhere to unlock it, which would mean I'd probably get a couple of extra chunks from, like, ports and things. I'd still get islands with sailing, but I wouldn't necessarily unlock all of the coastline stuff. Might as well pick this up. 76 hit points. Big, huge. We're getting somewhere. Don't know the hit points levels actually matter all that much. But one more HP that some mob has to go through to end the hardcore status. Always a plus. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if folks have any thoughts. What do you think? Sailing chunks? Is it a wait and see? Because they may end up making it so, like, the map is scaled, like, way larger, and then maybe this will end up not being a thing. Won't have to wait too long, though. Actually, I suppose no one here was probably at Runefest. Maybe you were. I guess if you live over there. Say, for folks who were at Runefest, I know that they did, the sailing alpha was available, like, while you're there. Share some insights. Just a way to travel from port to port. Yeah, I think if I, like, want to keep it limited, that's probably the play. The idea of, like, landing the ship sort of deal. But I think I would have to allow, like, being able to travel through the ocean itself. Otherwise, I assume the skill just won't function, essentially. Would be cool, though. You're able to, like, travel along these coasts. I know they mentioned, like, being able to see people fishing at, like, Catherby. Being able to, like, travel through this. I wonder if it's gonna, like, if it'll break the sort of, like, chunk drawer thing. It really depends what they end up doing with this map. Because they're gonna have to have that separate scaling system. Oh, did too much damage. How many trolls we got? 25 left? Getting pretty close. Man, this just eats runes though, doesn't it? I had like 500 something deaths at the start of this. 500 bloods as well. Might actually have to go and buy up more of them. 4 use range or something. Actually, on the topic of elemental weaknesses, though, I have found that it's been quite helpful for early Slayer. I mean, this account doesn't have access to a lot of tasks either, so like a lot of them are demons or dragons, both of which have elemental weaknesses. So magic has actually been like pretty decent for an account that like I really don't have a lot of like weapons that I have access to or stats. Like my stats aren't that good, so it's been really helpful for that. Albeit it's a little bit expensive using all these runes on these tasks, but you know, I guess I could if I lean into like chaos runes more, it's not that bad. But I'm looking forward to some of the tweaks that they're going to do. More elemental weaknesses, wider, what would you call it, like wider categories for tasks. I think both of those things will be really helpful for me. And I guess even for not on this account, I mean, like, it's going to be good for everybody anyway, but I get a little honed in on, like, the transit-only account. I'm like, ooh, same deal with, like, sailing. When they were pitching all three of the new skills, there was sailing, there's, like, what'd they call it, animal husbandry or something? Like, raising animals, farming animals. And then there was the whole, like, spirit world whatever thing. And I was like, all of that sounds cool. I'm like, ooh, but sailing. Sailing as a mode of transportation. Probably not the best way to make a decision, but I'm just like, you know what? I want the account to have more stuff, you know? Like, whatever, I can let my biases through on this. It's fine. Curious, what all did you guys vote for if you voted for one of the skills? Man, that was a while ago, wasn't it? Like a year and a half ago? 2 years ago, maybe? I don't remember when they last did that. Oh man, a sandwich lady. Baguette? Ah, normal baguette. Never lucky. Yeah, I think I would have been happy with any of the three skills. I do think that the OSRS team, they seem to do pretty well with most of the updates, I think. So I feel like they could have pulled off any of the three skills like fairly well. Put out so many polls, don't remember what I voted for. It's been a while. I'm pretty terrible with like time scales. I'm like, oh, that was just like a year ago. I'm like, no, actually, it's probably longer. It may have even been longer than 2 years ago. It might have been 3. Oh, man, I keep getting these high hits. Like, it's been a while since they did the skill pitches. I remember I followed along with it like quite closely initially when they did sailing. They're kind of like working on all of the pitches and stuff. But I think things kind of like cooled down maybe like a year and a half ago, where there wasn't like a ton of stuff coming out about it, probably because they were just in the middle of like developing everything that people had kind of agreed upon. So I mean, I haven't been, I don't typically pay that much attention to the polls. I feel like there's probably going to be more sailing polls coming, I would think, because I don't remember seeing any that were like talking about the types of content. And I know that they mentioned like originally in the pitch that they were going to pull a lot of the stuff that they were going to add with sailing. So I'm expecting that we'll have more polls. Maybe it'll be after the alpha. Yeah, it makes sense. Let people play around with what they've got a little bit. Give some perspective. Yeah, it's going to be a tight development timeline though. Maybe it's much further along than I'm giving it credit for though. I'm like, 6 months doesn't seem like a lot. I'm still really surprised that they're wanting to launch that this year. $14 left. It's always a gamble when I go to get a new task. I'm gonna have to buy another Slayer ring too. Rip the points. I don't know. I'll be curious to see how the skill goes over, because honestly, I mean, I I do think it would be cool, like the other one that they pitched, the sort of like Spirit World one. I think they called it Shamanism. Like I think that one would be a cool one to explore as well. It'd be interesting if they get into the swing of like adding new skills into Old School every like 5 years or something. Though I wonder if that would create a similar problem that we were talking about with RS3 earlier, where there ends up things feel like more bloated, more messy. It's so tough with this game because you gotta like, you don't want to change the core of it, but you still want to add things to it, you know? I don't envy the mods for trying to, like, having to come up with this stuff. Though I do think they've done quite well with, like, I know Karen initially wasn't anything crazy, but then, you know, they went back through and kind of, like, redid that one. Farlmore, I think, has been really popular. A lot of the content there has been really good. Expanding Mauritania, so we got, like, Darkmire. Expanding the desert, too. I mean, they did that one. Thought that one did pretty well. TOA and kind of that whole area down there. Well, and I guess with sailing, they're also... Well, shoot, I mean, I guess it's probably still here right now. There's like a black edge over here. So they're going to fill that in. I mean, we probably won't actually get any sort of like content in Menaphos with sailing. Although maybe a port, that'd be kind of interesting. A port down here somewhere. But they're going to be filling in that part of the map as well. And maybe that's the trick too, because I guess RS3, they added a lot of stuff to existing areas, and they changed a lot of existing areas. Whereas Old School, I'm trying to think, like, they will occasionally add things to areas, but it's like, I feel like it's very minimal. It doesn't really change, like, the overall structure of it. So, like, Scurious, for example, like, it's an addition in the Varrock sewer, but it's at an area that didn't really have anything and wasn't really important before. And it's also, like, a pretty small impact, I'd say. Like, you're not running around Varrock and you're like, oh my god, there's the giant rat boss arena here. You know what I mean? Whereas, like, RS3 did a lot more of that, which I think really changed the feel of the game. I mean, shoot, you had, like, giant space monster crashed into the desert or whatever and became a permanent fixture out there. Like, that's cool, but, you know, you go back and you're like, I don't remember there being a giant space whale in the middle of Al-Kharid, you know what I mean? But I think they've done fairly well with, like, they just kind of add areas or expand areas of the map that weren't quite built out yet. You know, it's like the desert example. I mean, you remember when, I mean, basically, like, this was all just like a black hunk. Like, this whole area down here. And it feels like, what they added feels like it fits. It feels like it could have always been there. But I think part of it is because it's like a new area. I mean, really, since there wasn't anything there before. You know what I mean? Like, it's a different feel than, like, if they just plopped something into the middle of the desert. Like, if they put this temple over here, for example, like, it would feel much weirder because you're used to, like, traveling around the desert and not seeing anything out here. So even though it's, like, technically a part of the old area, this was all, like, brand new. And I think that design philosophy has worked out really well. And we're looking two more trolls to go. There's one. Let's not screw that up. We'll let him get the last hit. Get ourselves 12 whole points, 124 trolls done, 203 points in total, which unfortunately we're gonna have to burn some of those. Alright, back to the stronghold. Hope we get a good task. There's not a lot of bad tasks, but man, she has been giving me so many dragons, and dragons are just such a pain in the butt to do. Alright, fire giants. Fire giants we could do. That one's pretty easy. And I definitely need to get myself a ring while we're out here. Otherwise I won't be able to come back. So a little bit of a rip to the points. But I think this may be the last ring that I have to buy. We're gonna get a task streak in 6 tasks. Assuming that I don't have to skip any. That one's 60 points, and we get just 12 per, so that would be another 60. So we'll get 120 points. I guess we're not going to be quite there, but we'll have 2 more tasks. So we got 144 points. Shoot, we're still going to be short. Ugh, we're going to have to get another ring. What a pain in the butt. I really should have done this math before I started doing this grind. I really thought I wouldn't have to do that many tasks, but man, we're probably going to have to go all the way up to like 30. It's not great. I mean, going up to 30 tasks, we're definitely going to pull in worms for sure. I mean, we'll for sure get 62 Slayer, even with the sort of like splitting the XP thing. Spiritual Rangers would also be a pain in the butt. Even though I can technically do it, it's out in the wilderness, so I really don't want to. Oh well. What can you do? Now for fire giants, this is probably still enough. I think we'll be alright. We'll switch over to this. Grab the chaos gauntlets. Oh, secrets. Let's see. What is that one? There you go. You can look at my face while I type this one in. I don't have something to like cover it. Secrets. Lots and lots of secrets. And we're back. We broke in. Unironically using Chaos Gauntlets. Only on this account. Trying to get some use out of these. Let's see, we need anything else? Probably not. Fire giants are in the catacombs, so that's a pretty easy one to get to. What I really ought to do is build out the, like the jewelry box in my house. That way I can always teleport through there rather than having to pull out the extra jewelry and stuff. Deal with that. And then Kingstown should get us there. I guess I should move U-Jack over there as well. Let's see. He's got a direct tele, so that'll be easy for him. I really got to spend some time working on the player-owned house so I can like maybe get a portal nexus. Get all the teleports in there in one place, get the jewelry box, some mounted stuff as well. Off we go, fire giants, and then we'll... I don't remember who recommended the like aggression timer plugin, but that has been so helpful for doing these Slayer tasks. Being able to see the lines and then like waiting it out. I would not have been able to do all of the dragon tasks I've done up to this point without that. Okay, so, speaking of aggression lines, what we probably want to do... Oh, well, that guy's... Oh, he's resetting. That's fine. We'll do this, that way they're not looking over here. We probably want to get this line all the way over just in case. There we go. Now, ideally, I probably will just have to end up waiting out the 10 minutes. The problem is this area right here, it's hard to get like a perfect safe spot. Checked out the Giant's Den in the catacombs. Is it multi down there? Alright, we can go look. Actually, you know what? Here's what I'll do. Let me shift this around a little bit. Since UJack doesn't care about aggression timers, I'll send him off to do that. And let me pull transit out of the way so I can see what I'm doing. Because I know I can get into the Giant's Den area. If it's multi, I guess it kind of depends, because I have to go to it. I mean, is it this thing? No, it's where oh, it's this, isn't it? Yeah, I guess that's actually not, it's pretty close. So as long as I don't have to go through anything like too terribly crazy to get to it, then we're fine. Since it's right next to the entrance, that should be alright. So somewhere around here, or is it just the vine? I guess it must be. Giant's Den. Oh, yeah, I guess it's not multi, but yeah, I could safe spot in here. I guess the challenge that I'm going to run into is I'm also trying to minimize the amount of XP that I'm getting. So if I end up safe spotting the Fire Giants, I'll get the kills, which is nice, but I'll end up getting twice as much Slayer XP. And on the other account, the higher my Slayer level goes, the worse my tasks end up being. In the way where like there's more tasks that I can't do. A lot of the Slayer creatures. So well, here we can just look. We won't quite have like a like the Slayer Master task list with this, but essentially a lot of these higher level Slayer creatures, they're not locked behind anything other than the Slayer level. So like some of these earlier ones, Slayer Masters won't assign things like warped creatures unless you have done the related quest and have unlocked the ability. It's kind of same deal with like Cave Horrors. You have to have done the whatever like Pirate Island quest. Variant Spectres are locked behind Mauritania, I think, and a lot of stuff is locked behind Mauritania. So like even though I technically have Aberrant Spectres that I could go and kill, they won't assign them to me. Which for this one doesn't really matter, but for like Cave Horrors is good, right? Because I can't actually go and kill Cave Horrors. So a lot of this early level stuff, I just won't get assignments for, so I don't have to worry about like whether or not I have access to it. But as you start to go up higher, and especially like, I mean, essentially once you get up into the 80s is where it's really bad, but there's a couple of them lower as well. You start to unlock them, so like Drakes are there's no like quest requirement. Cave Krakens, there's no quest requirement, so they'll start assigning me these things, but I just can't reach them. I just don't have the chunks for them. And so I'm trying to avoid going up in Slayer levels because there's more stuff like that the higher up I go. So while, yes, I could safe spot them, and I do think eventually I'll want to get my Slayer up. Just right now, since I'm trying to like build up more points, I'm trying to avoid it. Because there is a lot of good gear behind like higher level Slayer creatures. But it's just right this second I'm trying to like get as little XP as possible, so I'm guaranteed to get the points, because if I end up getting too many tasks that I can't do, then what's going to happen is I'll have to go back to Wilderness Slayer, and like, it just, my poor hair may not survive me doing more Wilderness Slayer. I've got so many hours on the account now, I just don't want to risk it, you know? I'll go out there if I absolutely have to, but man, I try to avoid it like the plague now. And that's why, like, the Spiritual Rangers task, like, I can technically go do it, because there's the like, Wilderness God Wars dungeon thing. Let's see if we can get up to the surface. So, like, I've got the whole Wilderness. That's the Rev Caves, yeah, this one. The Wilderness God Wars dungeon. So, like, I can come in here, there's all the spiritual creatures out here, and I will do this for dragon boots at some point. So like, what is that, 83 Slayer for the mages? But I'm like, I don't want to come out here beforehand. It's multi. I mean, I technically probably have all of the god items, so I could probably be pretty safe from like the NPCs. But I'm like, everything is risky in the wilderness. Everything is just like infinitely more risky. I don't have good gear, and the higher combat level I get, the more chance I have of people just like straight up one-shotting me. Because, I mean, you look at this guy, like... This dude's running around in the wilderness. This man's a snack right now, okay? He's not going to survive absolutely anything. Some dude's going to come up. He's going to be like, look at this free claw spec. And he's going to do 90 damage to me in a claw spec. And I'm just going to be dead. Like, that'd just be it. End of the red helm. So I actively try to avoid going out there. God, dude, the barbarian armor. I can't imagine, like... Literally, you see this guy running through the wilderness, like, your mouth, you're just salivating. PKers are like, oh my god, look at all this stuff. And the problem is, like, I can't even run out there naked because, like, they kill people for spades. You know what I mean? I can't get away from not taking stuff out there. So I always have to bring my best gear. My best gear makes me just look like free money. Quite the predicament. Let's switch these guys back. Now I'll send you on to find a world. Let's see. Normally the fire giants aren't too terribly crowded. I'll hop through a couple of times. Oop, there's one. Let's see. 491. I might actually be able to get away with, if I do this. Start killing these slightly early, maybe. As long as I don't hit that one. That'll keep them blocked. Alright, now we're back to chilling. At least I hope it's that one. One of these two spawns, like, in here. It's not like... These aren't the most dangerous thing by any means. I do have some prayers, so I can always defend myself if I need to. Take them out. But here in 2 minutes, I won't have to worry about it. Yeah, so these have 150 HP. You'll notice, because I'm not doing the whole thing, we only get half of it as the XP. Alright, this will be a moment of truth. Did I pick the right one? Where is it going to spawn? Alright, we did. Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah, the downside of doing Slayer like this is I don't get any of the drops. But at the same time, I'm just like... The stuff that I'm killing right now, I mean... It would be nice to recoup some of the cost of the ruins. That's probably like the biggest thing that I'm missing out on. Yeah, no rune scimitars, no fire battle staves that I could alch. But I think the loss of that is probably more important, because like if I got too much Slayer XP and then I end up getting into those higher levels, we just get worse and worse odds of tasks, and then I'm like more likely to have to go out to the wilderness, which I'm trying to avoid. Oh no. I'm getting trolled, Mr. Suppletie, welcome. We got 15 seconds until I actually don't get aggro anymore on this. I am looking forward to the next time when I get Fire Giants and I'm not doing the whole point grind. I'll go do the Royal Titans, because some of those drops would be pretty good. Alright, now we should be safe. Now we're really chilling. Also, welcome back, Mr. Thai. How was the store? Did you get a ton of groceries? It was a store indeed. New keyboard and mouse, okay. Electronic shopping. Old one died. Very relatable problem. Probably too much scaping, wasn't it? Fletching during leagues killed my last mouse. $25 Walmart special. Only the best. I mean, shoot, I used like one of those real cheapo Logitech mouses. We still have it. Use it for our TV downstairs. No, at this point, it's pretty rough. The thing's like, it's probably like 15 years old at this point. Those little things, they survive for a long time. Uh-oh. We'll tank it. We gotta be careful not to hit the ones that aren't actually on you directly, otherwise they get upset at me. Who's this guy casting spells? Strangely good. I know. Oh, we're almost at the point of needing another one. That one, I mean, the clicks still mostly work, but it's pretty rough. But it's kind of surprising, yeah. I mean, for how old that is, I'm sure, like, we're well over the whatever, like, what do they call them? Like, however many clicks that they're built for. Like, those switches are good for 1,000,000 clicks or whatever it is. I'm sure we're well over that. I mean, that was my travel mouse, actually, before it became, like, the TV mouse. I'm sure I played RuneScape with it. It's probably the thing that I used to get 99 fishing, actually, on UJ. At Monkfish. Not that that's, like, click-intensive by any means, but it's old. Oh man, I'm so ready to be done with Slayer. I've been doing this for weeks now. Like, I just want to get my 300 points so I can make the rings. And not lock myself out of the Nope Stronghold. What I don't understand is why Neve can't be nice and give me, like, the low-end counts for all these Slayer tasks. Got the first couple of them. It's like 60 Iron Dragons, 60 Steel Dragons, 60 Blue Dragons. I'm just like, what the heck, man? God, I got one that was like 200 Black Demons, and I'm just like, come on. It takes so long. Always the maximum value, and it's terrible too, because it ends up meaning even with splitting the Slayer XP, I end up getting more Slayer XP. Can't avoid it. You looked at the Slayer points rework? Well, I saw like the little mention for the summer thing, yeah. I mean, that'll help. I don't necessarily want to wait that long though. Although, I mean, honestly, if I keep getting super long tasks through Neve, I may still be doing Slayer by the time summer rolls around. Yeah, I think, like, as much as this feels like kind of a big stinted Slayer, this is not going to be the big stinted Slayer, I wouldn't say, for the account, because at some point I'm going to have to get up to like, what, 85 for Abyssal Demons. I think that's probably the highest level thing that I have access to. Oh, Cerberus as well, 91. So I mean, like, there is more Slayer in my future for sure. So it'll be helpful, even if it comes later. It just won't help me with this grind right now. Although I do kind of wonder, so the broad categories thing that they're going to do, I'm like, the task 2 will be good. Yeah, I'm like, it really depends on how broad those categories get. But yeah, if they do things like demons, dragons, I'm trying to think what other tasks would fit into that. I mean, I know they kind of have like skeleton tasks, but I don't know if there's a more broad category of that. Undead, maybe? Stuff like that may end up opening up Slayer a little bit better for me. Would be nice, because right now, I know once I get into the higher levels of Slayer, I basically have to go out to the wilderness if I want to stack points, because it'll end up being, like, you know, like 50-50 almost. It'll probably be slightly better than that, but there's a lot of tasks that I can't do once I get into the higher levels. Got the prayer pots. I trade you sub. But iron life. You sitting there doing nothing with his 9 super restores. Oh, it's his time to shine. Get out there, you. Pick up some giants. Yeah, let's do it. Use those prayer pots. I actually have so few on this account. I've been burning through them because I've been doing the Slayer stuff. I think I've got like 200 odd doses of super restores and 200 odd doses of prayer potions, so it's actually like pretty low. I don't even think I have any more like Ranars or anything to like restock them. Have to go farm out some Royal Titans maybe. Get the prayer potion drops. Ooh, don't take the giant out. It is definitely much faster with another person here, though, I'll tell you that. I think each of these tasks probably take me 2 hours. He has returned. See, unfortunately, I don't even have the Zolar scales on this account to, like, use a blowpipe and serpentine visage for too long. I'll use it for, like, the iron and steel dragons. Just because there's almost nothing I do besides, like, venoming them. It just takes so long otherwise. But the rest of these accounts I've been having to struggle through like this. Zoro about to be nice since you can Halley it soon. Swimming in scales. Yeah, I guess with the Noxious Halberd, huh? I don't know. I am curious to see like how good the Halberd actually is at some of these places. I kind of like I got the chance to try Zoro with a Halberd, though it was like I think it was the Dragon Halberd during leagues. With the Dragon Halberd it wasn't that good, but also the Dragon Halberd itself isn't that good. I don't know, it'd be interesting. I guess you would also not need anti-venom anymore if you took the Noxious Halberd, because you would actually want to get venomed and then like use the special to do some damage. I do kind of wonder, because there's the 50 damage cap on Zora, isn't there? Although I guess you're probably not doing a single instance of damage over 50 with the Noxious Halberd. I don't know quite how the poison shakes out with it. I'm trying to remember. Ow. Is it like, I think it adds whatever the the damages that you're poisoned to, that'd be like 20. Oh, stole the fire giant. How could you? My Slayer XP. Let me look it up. It's a weird one, the way that it scales. I remember the math being odd for the Noxious Halberd spec. Noxious Halberd, there it is. Let's see, for the special attack, okay. 50%. Can only be used when you have poison or venom. And the player's next accurate attack with the halberd will have its minimum hit increased by the damage the player would have taken from their cured affliction. So I guess, yeah, so 20. But, well, I guess it doesn't raise your max then. Yeah, it'll roll between whatever that number is in the max hit. So I guess it doesn't really, like, increase the damage. I don't know how much the halberd can hit up to. Ow. Ooh, 11 damage. Fine, we'll eat a Karambwan. They're not hard to come by. But I guess that would probably make it fairly consistent. I mean, 50% spec, you probably get 3, maybe 4. No, probably 3, right? Because, I mean, 50% is still a lot, even if you had, like, a, whatever, the TOA ring, the Lightbearer. You wouldn't get a ton of spec back. Be fun at Kree. Oh, I agree. Being able to, like, melee Kriara. I just don't know if it'll end up actually being good. I'm like, I guess maybe it doesn't matter, though, because it'd probably be more chill. Being able to melee Kriara. I'm sure you don't do more damage than, like, if you do, like, the Black Chin method on there. But you also don't need to. I'm trying to think, what else flying stuff would we be able to hit? Or, like, distance stuff. Sora and Kree were the two that I thought of offhand, but I guess for, you can now do, is it like Master and Elite clues? You can get A, B, and C's. So you could actually just have melee taking down those. I don't know if there's any more bosses, though. I don't know, can anybody think of any bosses that you might be able to, like, halberd all of a sudden? That were melee immune before? Melee Jad's easier then? Well, I think you could do that before, right? I mean, there's not, like, a restriction in terms of the melee damage on him. Like, Zuck is still too far away, I'd assume, unless they do some sort of weird change with the halberd range. Yeah, thinking about the halberd. I'm like, I just don't know that there's a ton of places that you could use it. Zora and Kree, for sure. I guess it's because there's not a lot of, like, flying bosses, or bosses that are only, like, one tile away from you, you know what I mean? I wonder about, how about maybe TOA? Can you melee the crocodile right now? If not, maybe you could with the halberd. You can. What about, well, I was thinking TOB, but I guess you can melee everything in there anyway. Is there anything in Chambers? I guess there's nothing really in Chambers that you couldn't already melee either. mean, that might be it, actually. It might just be Zulrah and Kree. So I feel like a lot of stuff, you could melee it. It's just suboptimal in most places to melee it. So, like, the halberd doesn't really change that. And Zulrah is probably the best use case on it, at least for the Noxious Halberd. Although, I guess there's also, like, the Crystal Halley for the spec. Maybe bring, like, a Crystal Halley to Kree. Use that as your spec weapon. Here, let me pull up the boss list for OSRS just to take a look. If anything in here stands out. I mean, pretty much all of this stuff you can melee. There's Kree. No, you can melee next if you really wanted to. Yeah, I think all this stuff you can, all this stuff you can pretty much melee as is. There's Zulrah. Leviathan, maybe? I don't know if the Leviathan's close enough to that. I mean, maybe. That sounds like a terrible way to kill Leviathan, though, I'm gonna be real. Hello, Mr. Grizzly. Welcome in. We're just trying to look for some bosses that the halberd change may help you with. You know, I wonder... So Grotesque Guardians might be one. I wonder if they'll make it so... like, right now, the flying one is, like, actually immune to melee damage. I wonder if they would change that for this. They probably won't, but, I mean, that would be kind of nice. Runefest is closed. It's done. The weekend party's over. Let's see what else in here. Maybe Halberd on Kraken. I think that one might be a little too far out, though. That looks like that's about it, yeah. Nothing else too crazy in this list, I don't think. Well, Grizzly, you're probably a good person to ask. I was talking about this earlier. Because you got the chance to play the Sailing Alpha, yeah? I was debating how... And you may not have, like, checked on this in particular during that alpha, but I was thinking about how to handle sailing for this account. Like, because depending on how they scale out the map, like, did you have the chance to look? Like, if you were on the boat, how did it change, like, the map scaling? Because I know they talked about it, like, making things farther apart, but in relation to the chunks, I'm like, you know, I could run around the coast and essentially get everything, which seems a little odd. But I also don't know how their whole, like, map scaling thing works. Ocean should be free terrain. We did get that one. So I'm like, one part of me is, yeah, ocean's free, whatever, I travel through the chunk, I get it. But the other part of me is like, that's too OP. Maybe I should just do wherever I can land the boat I can unlock. All south of Karamja's new areas, both water-based, small land masses. Yeah, and I saw the map in the blog post as well, and I guess I just, maybe it's tough to visualize, like, how that fits compared to, like, how things are now, because, well, did you, like, travel over near, like, Tran door and kind of like the little pass area within here. Did they have that available within the alpha? I'm assuming they did, like this whole little section here. Not really, because a boat is transport at the end of the day. It's true. It is transport. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't repeat my my ladders and cave entrances decision. How do you do a raft from Lumbridge to Edgeville? Well, yeah, that one I did whatever chunk I landed in, but also it's a little bit different because you're not like there's like an animation that plays. So I mean, I didn't consider unlocking this one because you chop the boat, they play a little animation, and then you land up here. So there's no like traveling in between. Whereas with sailing, you're like clicking and you're like physically moving through all of these spaces here. From Port Sarim all the way south of it. I guess what I'm curious is like how did it feel going between the existing land masses? Because you know, like right now you could stand in Remington and you can see Karamja, like it's that close. But when you're on the boat, did it feel like there was a lot of open space between it? Or was it like a narrow pass that you could like barely get through sort of deal? Yeah, the cutscene thing. Yeah, for sailing, yeah, you're clicking around. Actually, I didn't even think about that. Did they change the Lumbridge boat? No, surely they didn't. That would be kind of interesting though, if they retroactively went and changed that. Felt okay. The movement was good. You could see land masses. You had to guide your way through small water sections. Still like pretty close then. That'd be funny if they updated this. I guess I still wouldn't get. I'd get this thing. I would not get like this chunk here is like super important. I didn't touch the water. Couldn't even cheese that one. Maybe that? Not quite. That'd be interesting, being able to travel along the rivers. I didn't think about them doing that. I don't suppose you tried when you were there? Like, did you try to go up the River Lum? I'd assume it wouldn't let you, but you never know. AFK for a bit. One of my speedy tasks. Good skill with some polishing. Think it'll be fun. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it'll be good. And it sounds like. I mean, I was kind of surprised for how much they're putting into the alpha. And it's still like it's just the alpha, so I'm sure they'll have a lot more content when they go to do the full release as well. And then it'll be another area of the game that they can like expand over time too. Didn't, but it let me go through the small river tutorial island. Really interesting. Oh, so like kind of navigating around in here, maybe? I don't know, it's probably still like coastal. I don't know. That might be one, I'll have to try that around, but We'll see when they drop the alpha for us. I'm kind of hoping maybe it'll be next week. I know that they said sometime in March, but since I'm going out of town at the end of March, I'm hoping they don't wait till the end of the month. Get a chance to play around with the alpha. Probably do a little video about it as well. Alpha will be released in 2 to 3 weeks. Oof, that'll be close then. Won't have a ton of time with it. Two to 3 weeks. Let me look at the calendar. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so I might have a couple of days. Oh man, not even gonna have like the whole month for it. Ooh, clicking on the wrong thing. Mid-March, yeah. I suppose not the worst thing. It'll mean more time for me to work on the transit episodes, so I might get a second one done before I leave. And maybe do like a quick video for the alpha, playing around with it. I'm really excited to see what they do for sailing. That, and it came as a surprise for me. We get an alpha and the full release all in the same year, supposedly. I guess we'll have to see. I mean, there's always like passing polls for things, so if people can't agree upon the rewards, it may end up getting pushed or something. But we'll have to see. I feel like since it's a new skill, there's probably going to be a lot more leeway with the community compared to like, you know, a new boss dropping whatever junk. Party time for the night. Last night here. Well, good luck. Enjoy the partying. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for giving us some insight on sailing as well. So yeah, we're looking 59 of these things left to go. We're getting close to a Slayer level as well. Ooh, sounds like my wife's home too. I think she just got back from the store. Ooh, lucky. Taking a drink, he could have defeated that fire giant right there. Always gotta be careful. U-Jack's just a bit too strong. Hitting up to like 30 odd something. Oh, Supple has returned. Welcome back, Mr. Supple. So much faster with the blowpipe. Ugh. I'll have to go back to Zora at some point. The proposed Barracuda trials makes me a bit nervous. Don't want to feel like chasing the Sepulcher. Chasing times of the Sepulcher. Oh man, that was brutal. Dude, alright, the League's time. God, that was with superpowers, trying to get the like 5-minute time in Leagues was terrible. I feel like it'll probably be alright though, you know? I mean, like, surely the lower level trials will be easier and it'll like scale up eventually. And it didn't seem like there's not crazy rewards behind it necessarily, just like some XP. But hopefully there's nothing like super important that you have to deal with. So it may be kind of like a fun challenge thing that you do, but you don't necessarily have to like commit to it. So I feel like it's similar for the Sepulcher. Like the times are cool, but you can also just take your time in the Sepulcher for the most part. and you still get all of the same rewards. I don't know though. Maybe it'll end up being like the it'll be like a time challenge in the way that the Inferno is like a PVM challenge. Maybe they'll do something like that. That'd be pretty miserable though. But I mean, there is space in the game for it. So I could see them doing that, like the max level Barracuda trial. I'll be curious though. I'm trying to think. I guess, yeah. The Sepulcher, it is a movement challenge. It's pretty, I don't know. In a way, it's definitely tough. I guess I just don't, since I haven't seed sailing, I don't know how it translates into sailing. Like navigating the obstacles, I'm like, it can't be that bad, right? But then I'm like, God, I struggled so much on the Sepulcher time. You're probably right. Oh. Okay though, as long as they don't put anything too crucial behind it. Too early to say. Need to see how it feels steering the boat, yeah. Well, if it's the that sort of like slower turn, I'm sure that'll be used as part of the mechanic as well. Like if you don't time your turn well enough, you miss it, or you like crash your boat or whatever. Be a different kind of memorizing, like memorizing the timings. Imagine trying to get through the Sepulcher in a clunky boat. You're trying to move one tile over and the thing's just like, alright, and we're looping. And you're like, no, stop it. Well, you just gotta go in with a smaller boat, you know? They said there's different sizes of boats. Maybe you can get like a canoe, a Leverage River canoe, and actually make like one tile turns with it or something. But then maybe the hull isn't strong enough to survive like whatever other things in the trial. I don't know. It'll be interesting. It's all new territory. And what a wild way to like expand the game too, because the ocean is so vast. Like they can really add all kinds of stuff. No more landlocked. Where'd that fire giant go? He's running away. Oh no! Rip. Yeah, I kind of figured he might be on me. Get him. Feels like a great idea. Only so much space on the mainland. Yeah, I think it's like there's enough factions in the game too. I know they've talked about this a little bit, like Fremnik boats and Elven boats. You know, like all of the different factions. So it also like you can expand the areas around those different factions too, and end up having like Elven islands and Fremnik, like additional Fremnik islands outside of what's already there, right? So it ends up being like both a cool way to add just like net new stuff into the game, but also gives you another avenue to expand some of the like coastal related content pretty easily. And they did tease Raids 4. I really wonder if they're going to do like a Raids 4 that involves sailing. Like sail to the island somewhere, and that's where the raids are. All the speculation. Need 40 sailing, 50 sailing to access the raid, 70 sailing, whatever it is. I guess if they did that, you'd probably end up with a raid that had sailing as a mechanic, potentially. As like a puzzle room, they'd do like a mini Barracuda trial or something. Must return to AFK. Thank you for the help, sir. Oh, I wonder how fun that would be. I'm thinking about puzzle rooms and raids right now, and I'm like, I think there's the novelty of it. You know, you gotta do like a sailing puzzle, and it'd probably be fun the first couple of times. It'd probably fall into the same realm as like some of the other puzzle rooms are just like, you gotta do it, you know? But it would certainly make the skill feel a little more integrated. Didn't give us enough info on it, but with how much pushback they've had on sailing, seems like it'd be risky to put a raid into it. Yeah, maybe so. I don't know, though. I mean, sailing's passed a number of polls. I mean, I know it was a bit divisive when there was, like, other skills in the mix, and it was also the fact that, like, there's the crowd that doesn't want any skills added. There's the crowd that didn't like sailing and liked something else. But I guess my hope is that people will be on board with sailing. And I'm like, you gotta get new content eventually in the game anyway. I think if it goes over well, I'm sure people will be open to it. We probably won't get a real sense until after the alpha when people have like really gone in and played around with it though. Although, I mean, they did have the alpha available at Runefest. I know it's a little different when you're in person. Like, you don't necessarily want to, like, voice a lot of negativity while you're there. But I mean, I bet, like, the mods already got feedback, I would think. And I don't know if they would tell us if it was negative, but I'm imagining that it was going to be, like, relatively positive overall. Definitely on the side of sailing being added. Out of the three choices, it seemed the best, rather than new pets and min-max shaman gearing. I liked shamanism for kind of a similar reason, actually, where, like, the idea of creating, like, a new spiritual plane thing that you can go explore around in. Though I liked it less than sailing, because it's just different, I guess. Like, sailing feels a little bit more like it fits in the world. More likely than not, sailing haters are just a loud minority. Probably true. You get a lot of people screaming on Reddit. Reddit and X, Twitter. We'll have to see. I mean, there really hasn't been... I don't think there's been a poll for anything related to sailing in a long time, actually. But I know that they did a lot of the, like... I don't know, dev Q&A type of things for a while as they were, like, working on it. And they went silent for many months. I feel like it's been out of the player consciousness for a while. Might just be me, though. I very much like... I follow the weekly update stuff that they put out. So if they don't mention it after a while, like, that's just gotta... Like, I know that there's a sailing skill somewhere. Like, they're working on it. I see the Discord still. They've got the sailing Discord where they still post stuff from time to time. But I'm like, I'm not super following it or anything. There's only been like 3 blog posts the entire time. Yeah, that's true too. I think... Yeah, it's been a while since I've looked at the Discord. Let's see. Gotta give them time to cook. Well, yeah, that's true too. I know that they were a lot more active at the start because they were like figuring out a lot of the mechanic stuff. Let's see. Probably gonna have an influx of things. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's some activity still in the Discord. People have been talking about it. Though it's much more sparse. I mean, a lot of it is like from back in December even. So I mean, like, you get a couple of questions here and there every month. But yeah, it looks like there's not like a ton of activities. They've probably just been in development, kind of working through the systems that they'd been talking about earlier. But it makes sense. I mean, like, once they talked about the initial concepts, they have to go and like build the stuff, which takes time. Man, what they have built. The Sailing Alpha with basically content up to like level 30, just about. I mean, I'm sure they'll have more at the lower levels anyway once they like actually get it out, but I think my biggest concern is server performance with Sailing not being instanced. Yeah, I guess it really depends. I know, like, well, today's been good. I haven't really noticed any lag problems today. The last couple of weeks, server stability has felt like really, really hit and miss. But I don't know. I mean, I guess it just depends. So I know that they said there's like some engine trickery that they've been able to do with it. Don't know enough about the technical backend to say, but they may, like, I'm sure they figured out something to sort of like help with the resource load. Otherwise, they wouldn't be pushing it out. And I guess they'll likely find out pretty quick with the alpha too. I know not everybody ends up in the like playing around in the alphas, but I bet Sailing will probably get quite a few people, so we may yet see the stress test on those alpha servers. Instant Sailing would feel bad. Yeah, I mean, I think the Sailing, it makes sense where kind of in the same way you can see people like walking around in the world. I think you kind of need that with Sailing as well. I mean, otherwise you're essentially in like, we were talking about this earlier, the Lumbridge canoe that you could chop, you're like in that cutscene if it's instant. Just feels odd. Doesn't make it feel like it's a part of the game. I don't know, are you all gonna end up messing around in the Sailing Alpha? Feel a lot more like a minigame than skill. Dungeoneering? Dungeoneering on water? Let's do it. Hello. I can move it. Okay. You need help? Yeah. Yeah, it gets hot up here.
I go to Costco.
Yeah. Did you want to say hi?
Do the camera see me?
Yeah, I think this is a little behind. Let me... maybe. Yeah, there you are.
I cannot see I'm waving.
There you go. There's a little bit of a delay still. Like a 30 second delay or so. Ow.
Get the ear wet. Still.
Gonna give the alpha a shot for sure. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be people who don't play it. I'm kind of like, I'll be surprised by the people who don't, because it seems like such a big deal, you know? I'm like, it's big, new, shiny. Everybody's got to play it, right? Try out the alpha. I guess if you wanted to keep it a bit of a surprise for yourself, maybe you'd avoid it. Yes, hello.
You tell me you have to have a lot. I like to do, this is why I give you
Oh no, I took out the giant. Rip. We got 14 left on this one. Need any assistance? Yeah, no spoilers or the Sailing deniers. Yeah, I guess there's always going to be some people who are just like completely against it. This is EOC, but on a boat. Okay. I don't think so, guys. I don't think so. Yeah, there's gonna be people who never give it a shot. Ow. This is just summoning with extra steps. Riot in Falador. Well, you see, you can put your ship in a bottle, and then you can remove it from the bottle at any place, almost like summoning, and it can hold things for you. Much like the old pack-yak can. And you can catch fish, which can then heal you. Alright, I think I can get there. I'll have to do a little segment whenever I'm trying it out. I'll be like, this is just summoning with extra steps. See how far I get with it. This is dungeoneering on water. What else? What else people hate about it? EOC. EOC on water. It's just EOC with boats. Something removing free trade. What other kind of divisive stuff can I compare this to? Bounty hunter. I guess, yeah, they didn't mention PvP on the ships there, but I know that they had talked about it as potentially a system that they're going to include. I don't recall if they said that was going to be a part of the initial release or not. Maybe it isn't. Oh.
I spent more than 300.
Oof.
Why?
Groceries are expensive.
Because I did not get a lot of groceries. Basically, all the stuff is this. I get mine.
Yeah.
And I get like the airwax. And I get a lot of fish oil.
Hmm. Man, no way. You're kidding. I want these Molly randoms, dude. Oh, I swear, UJack gets them so much more often. God, that's triggering. How could you, game? How could you do this to me?
Yeah,
no. Probably not. I'm not sure. Oh, the Molly random. At least we're almost done with the task. And we got 4 left. 1, 2,
Well, you will be
3.
done.
I'll wrap up after this.
Okay, and then you do your feet spa and then.
Oh, and now that one spawns. Now I lost aggro on all of these. Go.
Is there any
An event.
Yeah, because you don't know how many people Costco. Like, I am the person when Costco just opened up the group, it's me because open at 10. I arrived there at 10. But it's still people out.
Well, you said it's supposed to snow next week, right?
No,
It might be that. People always go crazy when there's like potential snow.
it's next Wednesday. So Wednesday.
There is 15 tasks, 12 points. Man, we're only up to 140 because I had to buy that other ring. Let's see what we get on the next one. We'll grab this task and then we'll wrap it up here. Gotta do some house cleaning today. God, I always... It's like ripping off a band-aid every time I do this. Greater Demons? Alright, I can do Greater Demons. It's not a terrible task. We'll leave it there for now, though. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. I've got to head out for now. But again, I'll be streaming pretty much every Sunday at the same time. There'll be a couple of weeks, you know, like the end of March into April for the first couple of weeks where I'll be out of the country. But then when we're back, I'm planning every Sunday, a couple of hours. Gets real bad down here in Texas when there's potential centimeter of snow. I think the world is ending. Oh, I know, it's the same thing over here. Even the hint of snow, people are like, everybody just swarms the grocery stores, clears everything out. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you hanging out. And I will catch you again soon. Bye.